What's going on, people? It's David West from davidwest.org, and I have another special guest in the building. Hi, Yellow Pod.
You're doing it!
Don't even stop it. Don't even stop it. You stopped it? Don't stop it. Mariah Gallegos. There it is. See,
Hello.
I practiced. We just went over it. That's
we
so
were
crazy.
just having
and
a
I know
whole
it. I know it.
Our conversation.
I was too excited to talk to you today. That's what it is.
We're
How
trying
are
to
you?
get into it. I'm doing good. Working, visiting family, finding the things that make me happy. It's a whole thing.
Like Travis Kelce?
Like Travis Kelce. He makes me very happy.
Me too. He's on my fantasy team. I really appreciate you. You said you drove this morning from Corpus Christi to be here, so that's love. Like, I sincerely appreciate you.
Did it for you, but we were planning it, and so there was no way I was about to flake out.
Real one.
I was
real
excited.
One. And the thing is, I hit you up at like 5 this morning.
I
kind of felt bad, but the thing is, you're a TV reporter, so I know how it be. Your hours are already sporadic. You was probably already up.
I am a morning reporter now. So, and even like on the weekends, I work on the morning. So literally, my alarm goes off at 2:00 every morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Even on your days off?
Well, not on my days off, but like my body clock gets up like so early. Like it's hard to sleep in, and I have to like make myself go back to sleep because naturally I wake up around 5, 6 o'clock, and I'm like up checking my phone, which I probably shouldn't do as soon as I wake up. But
you're good. I mean, the thing is, so I have a back. We're gonna dive into this in a little later, but obviously I have a background in television too. I aspire to be on television until I tapped in with audio, but so I kind of know a sense, obviously not to the degree that you know of, but I kind of have a sense of what people think looks good, what's on television. Like, they see you doing things now, but they don't understand like the grind and stuff. But we're gonna get into it though.
Right.
We're gonna definitely tap in with that. So again, I appreciate you being here, and I'll tell you right off the bat, when I knew I wanted you to be on the platform this season was I was on LinkedIn. I connected with you on LinkedIn, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I saw your reel, package reel. For those watching who don't know television, that's sort of like, it's like highlights, like your highlight reel for like sports or whatever it may be. I saw your reel and I was like, damn, like Mariah's like winning. She's out here winning. She's doing things. She's aspiring to be on television. She is on television. She has a reel. She's doing her thing, right?
Thank you.
And I was like, she's winning out here. And it's like, I firmly believe your network is your net worth, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I have to align myself with people who are aspiring to win and aspiring to do things. I saw you doing a lot of things, and I was like, damn, yeah, I need to have her on the platform because at some point she's gonna be bigger than me, and I'm not gonna be able to reach out to her no more.
Not so even. I stay humble.
I do too. But I still got. Damn, let's make sure we not cover the chain. Yeah.
No, I mean, I feel like we're both like very humble people. Like it. Being in news, I feel like there's definitely some people who get to a point where they might have a little bigger head, or it's easy to kind of get pulled into that because you start going places, people know you, people recognize you, or even like that, like friends that you grew up with, family members. Like, I've had so many family members tell me too, like, I got to get your autograph before, and I'm like, not even. Like, I don't see it like that at all. Like, I'm still little old me, like just a cousin, just a friend, just a sister, who's from Richmond. Like, I don't see it like that at all.
Shout out to Richmond.
But I appreciate that. Yeah, shout out to Richmond.
How would you say, how do you remain humble? I mean, it's like, or is it just your upbringing?
I think, yeah, for sure. I think a lot of it is just like the way that I was raised. Like, we didn't have anything. Like, we were just like a broke little family of 4 kids. My parents had us all like pretty young. Like, my mom was 18 when she had my older sister, and we were all like back to back.
Jasmine?
Yeah.
Shout out to Jasmine.
Shout out Jasmine. Damn, I seen her. I love you, sis.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, like 4 kids, my parents were young and trying to make it, we went from living in a trailer to my parents would like push us around in like carts that they took from the grocery store to like go to the pawn shop, like that's how we grew up. And like my parents were just always like hustlers, like always grinding, always working. My mom had a job, went back to school to get her accounting degree, and I feel like they just always had like a idea of wanting more for them and for us. And so I feel like that background of like growing up like that and just living off ramen noodles sometimes, it's the reality, and so I think it was just, like the way I grew up and the way that my parents still are till this day. It's more of like that, you work hard to be where you are or to get where you want to go, and just stay humble. The blessings will come.
So is that sort of is that something you sort of lean on now? Like you said, you remain humble now. Is that something? Would you say your past experiences and how you came up, is that something you have to remind yourself? Like maybe because we all get big headed. You're on television. Like everyone has an ego. I have an ego just from doing this podcast. Is it sort of bringing up those old memories that keeps you leveled, keeps you humble, you think?
I don't think it's something that I have to like actively remind myself to be this way. I think it is like who I am and just my like natural kind of like character. I mean, you're right. Like sometimes I will say like, I like the compliments, you know? Do a little hair flip here and there. You know, it feels good, you know, to be on screen and to be recognized, of course. Like, who wouldn't love that,
Got the blue check.
Got the blue check on Twitter. I'm waiting for Instagram and everybody else to come through. But
I'm telling you, I'll tell you a quick story. So, I don't know if you know this. I think 2 weeks ago, they reopened sort of the, you can apply for the blue check again on Twitter, right?
Okay.
I applied.
As you should.
You've probably been on my profile. I didn't get it. So they said, Dave, you're not big time enough. That was crazy, right? But so maybe that was their way of keeping me humble. Because I mean, I'm definitely.
They're like, sir, sit down.
Yeah, you just not big time yet, big homie, but you gonna get there. How you pod?
Right.
Yeah, but so obviously I do the NPR stuff now, so it's coming though. It's coming NPR. I do the radio, so it's on the way.
That's cool. I didn't know that you were in NPR until we had kind of like caught up and we were DMing and stuff. How do you like that? I mean, to flip the script here a little bit.
Oh yeah, I didn't even say it. You can ask me whatever you want. I'm an open book. Ask me whatever. This is not an interview. It is, but it's a conversation. So ask me whatever you want. NPR is super dope. It's been a super dope blessing. I've been with them since June, and then I messed with I know you did something with their affiliate station at some time, a long time ago.
Yeah, in Arizona, where I went to school.
Right,
yeah,
so they also have affiliate, what they call member stations, and they have a radio company called KUT that's recorded, broadcast, or whatever, in the University of Texas at Austin, my former school. So it's super dope. I had an internship with NPR, slowly transitioned into a role with them doing a show called Morning Edition, and then I'm also at the same time on the weekends I do radio hosting at KUT. So definitely tap in with me on the radio. But this is High Yellow Pod, so we're not going to talk no more about my employers because I love my employers.
You're your own boss here.
Yeah, definitely trying to be.
I like that. Yeah. I feel like, you know, people who work in some kind of media, like, you know, field in some sense, like we all kind of understand, you know, the background that it takes to get there and, you know, the nice parts of it and the bad parts of it sometimes. We're going to
get all into it. See, and I feel like I cut you off. You were getting into this, but so I feel like my first journalism experience was doing yearbook in high school, right? That's journalism at the end of the day. I wouldn't say that's what got me doing audio and television and wanted to aspire to do all those different things, but that was sort of my entryway into journalism altogether. What was yours, and when did that sort of take place? Like, when did you start either aspiring to be on TV or just your journalism in general?
Yeah. Well, you were already a step ahead of me there because I feel like in high school I was more focused on, you know, I was in sports, played volleyball, played softball, tried to do track, but the coaches made me throw up at the first practice. So that was a no-go. I couldn't keep up with them. Shout out to anybody who runs track because that's a league of its own. But I think, honestly, I don't think it was ever, you know, something where I was like, I love journalism, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I didn't even have an idea of, like, all that journalism entails, you know? Like, it was just something that, oh, okay, well, that's what I like. It's journalism, you know? Like, it was kind of that connection there. But I feel like I was just always kind of a good writer. Like, I never struggled in English or, like, writing a Facebook post, you know? Like, all of it.
Now, when it came to math.
Well, I was good at math. So that was, honestly, like, I'm really good at math and numbers, and my mom now is an accountant. I feel like I kind of got that logistical side from her. So initially, I always used to think like, oh, I'm going to be an accountant like my mom, or I'm going to go into like marketing or something like that. So when I was going to college or trying to find, right, like you have to decide, what are you going to major in? What are you going to do? I actually was initially under like sports It was like sports marketing or something like that.
Right,
But the
right.
goal is that you would work for like a team and handle their, like marketing or whatever, numbers side of it. So I actually started off with a business degree and a business major because I just wasn't sure. You know, I feel like
Right.
you have that question when you get to senior year of like, all right, time to decide. What are you going to do? You're 18 years old. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I want to
100%.
do.
And if you're like me, who was like a class clown and didn't want to, man, my high school, I've came up a long way from. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I feel that. I feel that because I feel like I
sorry.
was the same way. Like, I was like worried about being with my friends, worried about going out, and there's some regrets even with that itself. Like I look back on it and wish I would have done some things differently, but also I feel like those regrets, I guess you could call them, or memories now, kind of push me to change the way that I live my life now. And I mean, for example, that just being spending more time with my family. I love my family, good vibes all around, and so I wish I had dedicated more of that time to them early on, but lesson learned, I do it now, so I love them. But anyways, that's a whole track right there. So I started with business, and then my first semester I was like, okay, no, this is not what I want to do. I don't like it. And so I tried figuring out first semester of college, like, okay, I got to change paths because I don't want to waste my time,
College money is that college bag is a different bag.
Like
for sure.
You don't have time to waste, especially like for me going out of state. So I went to Arizona State, and so out of state tuition just is not a joke. So my parents were like, "Girl, if you're gonna change, you better change now," So I did. I started talking with friends, and I started visiting the other campus, which was in Phoenix, Arizona, and their journalism school there. They have their law school there, and I think medical school. But anyways, I started taking the shuttle back and forth to there, and just like seeing what it felt like, what it was like, what kind of classes they offered. And I applied. Even though you're going to like the university to get into that school, right? Like you have to apply. And so I applied to the journalism school because I thought, like communication's kind of cool,
Right.
So I applied, got accepted, and so I started going to the journalism school in the second semester of freshman year. And I absolutely loved it. I loved the people that I met. I loved like my first year classes or first semester classes, I guess you could say. And so from there on out, like I felt like this is it. Like this is what I like to do. And even still, I actually was interested in sports journalism because I thought sports are fun.
Let me ask you, not to cut you off. Did you want to?
Sure.
Was sports sort of? Because like you said, you were a multi-sport athlete in high school.
Right.
Is that the reason that you think you wanted to pursue sports marketing out of high school? Is that?
Yeah, like I definitely, that probably was a tie-in. I mean, at the time I didn't realize it, it just sounds fun, right? Like I want to do a job that's fun, and sports is fun. I enjoy playing, I enjoy watching it. And so I was like, yeah, I want to do that. But slowly I figured out that sports journalism is a lot more competitive than I thought.
See, this is why I align with you. You know what it is. I mean, I went to UT aspiring to be on sports television.
Right.
And every single networking event, every networking fair, Dave, you're going to have to make an adjustment because sports is very competitive. Go ahead and come to news. I don't want to be on the news. This is news. I don't even watch the news, yo. Like every networking, every mentor, yo, sports is crazy. You're not going to be able to do it. It's very competitive. Like you said, everybody wants to do it. Everyone wants to be on TV all together. So they kept telling me it was in my ear, but I never really made an adjustment. I finally made the adjustment when the pandemic happened and sports shut down. That was sort of my eye-opening moment, like, oh, sports is kind of indispensable. Sports doesn't, we don't need sports. Sports doesn't really matter. While sports is shut down, there's no games, nothing during the pandemic. News is still going on. Oh, so news is everlasting. Oh, my mentors aren't crazy. Oh, these people know what the hell they're talking about.
The puzzle starts coming together.
It just all starts making sense. And I'm not one to be like, I've never been someone who is stuck on one thing.
Right.
I consider myself, I don't know, I like to do a handful of different things, right? Radio, whatever it is. So I was never tied to that one thing, but it is the one thing I want to do the most, right? I wanted to be on sports. Whether it was writing, not even writing. I started off as a newspaper columnist for UT, but I knew I wanted to do television because people have always told my personality I have to be in front of a camera.
Right.
why would they say that? I don't know.
Right? No, that makes sense. What do you mean?
They were telling me I always had to be. You have a personality. You should be on TV. You should be on camera. You should be doing whatever. David, whatever you do, make sure your face is on it because you be having a good time, and you be wilding out sometimes, right? So that's how But to get back to it, that's sort of how I found out, like, oh, sports can go away at any time. Obviously, pandemic, that's a 1 in 100-year situation, right? That's not going to happen every so often, but it opened my eyes. It was like I said, I was tapped into UT television and on air and stuff like that, but I was there. I was in our little, what is it called, our studio, whatever, when sports shut down, like when we got Rudy Gobert he got tested for COVID, the league shut down. I was in there, and it was like, oh, so what am I going to do now?
Right.
Oh, we start a podcast, right? But anyway.
You got to find something else, you know, because you're right. Like, sports is an entertainment. It's not a necessity unless you play it and you need that bag to go home with. But, you know, it's definitely a part of the entertainment side of things. So, like, you know, we saw stores close down, but grocery stores didn't close, you know? So
I know I worked that one. I just put my 2 weeks in at HEB. Go ahead.
Hey.
Go ahead.
That's going to be nice. But, yeah, you know, so for sure. I mean, and even aside from that, like, the competitiveness of sports, like you were saying, like there's so many guys, men who want to be a sportscaster, but even y'all are up against old players. I mean, you know, if you look at the roundtables, it's 5 of them are, you know, Hall of Famers or something.
100%. I tweeted about this a couple of weeks ago, actually. I think, what is it? It was First Take with Stephen A. Smith, and he's doing, Max Kellerman just left for people who don't tap in with First Take. It's a daily sports show, and Max Kellerman, who was a journalist, just left, and he's been rotating in, like, former NFL players, stuff like that, and I tweeted this. I was like, well, let me do a quick thread as to why I left sports journalism, right? The pandemic, obviously, but, like, if you look at sports journalism right now, it's full of former athletes, right? Because they're the most qualified and they know what they're talking about. Like, they bring a different insight that you and I just can't bring because we never played it. So that also was an eye-opener. It was like, oh, yeah, because even watching, like, let me not even say names because who knows? I might run out. You don't know who you're going to run into one day.
No, that's true.
So,
gotta keep the bridges strong.
Right, I see 100%. Right, I see I'll see non-former athletes on sports, and I still tap in with them, but it's just a different perspective they can't bring to television. You know what I'm saying? So
who can go up against Drew Brees? I mean, he's commenting now.
Right, you know I'm a Saints fan. Don't do this. You know I'm a Saints fan. Don't have
I would feel so intimidated.
You know I'm a Saints fan, so shout out to Drew Brees.
Even Tony Romo, I remember whenever he moved, to Thursday nights, I believe. It was just like, even if you weren't a fan of Tony Romo, and he got
he got the highest bag too.
He's so good at it, at his job now. It's like, I love to hear him, and I love hearing him, like, you know, play-by-plays. Like, I absolutely love it. So, yeah, like, people who, you know, I feel like anyone who didn't play the sport and you try to go in, you're really just a host. You're one of the hosts, you know? But the Hall of Famers and the previous players, I feel like they lead a lot of they lead those convos.
The Keyshawn Johnsons, the Jay Williams.
Right.
I'm definitely tapped in with all of them. Like I said, that was my life, right? Yeah. I got to UT. Oh, I'm only doing sports. Y'all mentors can't tell me a damn thing.
I mean, I'm glad you felt that way. Like, nobody can tell you, you know, like, if you have a dream, go for it. Like, whether there's obstacles that you already know or you're going to have to cross over, go for it, you know? Yeah. And you came to that realization on your own, so
yeah, I mean, it's just a maturation. It's just a mature process. I mean, again, people were telling me this when I first got to UT, and it was like, so what? I'm David. I could tap. I'm tapped in. I watch sports. I watch sports. I could do this, right? But no, I'm telling you, the pandemic gave me a whole different perspective. To switch up, to go backwards a little bit. I know, like you said, you transitioned to Arizona State after growing up in Richmond, and you have a post on Instagram that was talking about this. That, you know, you were afraid to move across the country and move away from your family and do something completely different from the normal. So definitely tap in and talk about how, you know, you made that transition and how it felt in the moment. Because like I said, I know you were saying you were afraid. Making that, it's a big change.
It is. It's a big change. Actually, I just ran across this man at Lopez a few days or weeks ago now. And
what's Lopez?
the Mexican restaurant here.
Yo,
There's one in Stafford and there's one over off 99 in Richmond.
I'm not tapped in. I'm not tapped in.
I gotta take you. That's where we're going for lunch.
100%. 100%.
But anyways, he had asked me. We were talking about traveling and stuff like that, and he used to actually work at my current station, so it was just like weird how we crossed paths. But he had asked me like, "How did you end up at Arizona State from little Richmond?" You know. But Richmond's not small. I just want to send that out there. I love Richmond. No hate.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up there.
And, you know, I feel like in that moment, graduating or senior year or whatever, a part of me just wanted to do something different and be somewhere different. My parents are super, super, like, motivating and supportive in the sense that they used to always tell me, like, hey, home is home. Like, we're always going to be here. Your house isn't going anywhere. We aren't going anywhere. Go experience life. Like, go out there. Go, like,
That's super dope.
you know, push it. Push the envelope. See what you can do. I mean, mom and dad are always going to be here. You can always come back home.
That's super dope.
And so having them kind of in my ear, like, you know, letting me know that they were there for anything I wanted to do, whether that was go down the street to WCJC and start there or take the jump and try to go somewhere else. I was smart. I made good grades, tested pretty well, so I knew I had options on the table, you know. My parents always let me know, like, even though they would struggle maybe to make a payment, finances was never something I had to worry about. So if I wanted to go somewhere, you don't have to worry about how it's going to get paid.
That's so important.
So
that's such
for sure,
that family structure. Yeah, that's
definitely.
Yeah.
So I knew the options I had. At this point, I did kind of know that I wanted to go out of state. I think I had that idea there already. Like, I was just looking at schools in Texas that where would I want to go? And like, my heart wasn't in anywhere. I didn't grow up. My mom went to U of H. My dad never went to college. So it's not like I grew up in a house where everyone went to, you know, LSU or UT.
Right.
That's where I'm going to go. Like, it was never that. It was like, no, independently, like, make a choice. Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
So I applied to all these schools. I applied to LSU. I applied to UT, to A&M, to Texas Tech, to ASU, and Florida and Michigan, which is really weird. So I applied everywhere just to see. And I got accepted everywhere pretty much. And
shout out
from
to you.
there, yeah.
Shout out to you,
Shout out to the teachers at Lamar, though.
Let's not get crazy. No, just fine. But yeah.
But yeah, and so me and my mom kind of sat down, and you know, we had these papers of like acceptance letters, and it was kind of like, okay, where's too far? Where would you actually want to go? Michigan, my dad did not want me to go to Michigan. He was like, it's too far and it's going to be too cold. You're a summer baby. So I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Like, so Michigan got crossed off. Florida, I don't know. I didn't want to go to Florida, and my parents kind of didn't want me to go because they think it's like wild and out and crazy, and they're like, you're going to get over there and never finish school.
I would say Florida was ahead of the curve, but everyone's catching up.
Right. So Florida got crossed off. I knew I really, really wanted to be out of state, though, so to stay in Texas was sort of like a last resort.
Right. Wait, so you knew you wanted to be out of state?
Right, yeah. I don't know why.
So you weren't afraid to make the transition and go?
Not initially. I didn't think about it. No, I didn't think about how hard it might be or the, you know, like kind of, there's a word for it, but like the cultural shock that I would experience. Like, none of that I knew about. I didn't think about it or anything. All I knew was I was this like stubborn little teenager who wanted to be out of state. I wanted to be far. I wanted to experience this, you know, something that I probably would never be able to experience again. So it came down to the wire of LSU and Arizona State.
Oh, you about to break my heart.
I loved LSU. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be this like cool little like Southern chick at LSU.
You were supposed to be a Tiger.
I know, right? I literally paid for everything for LSU up until the wire. Like, all the deposits I had to make because I was so indecisive. Like I said, I never grew up in a home where there was like, that made it easy to make that choice, I guess. So it was all up to me. And LSU was closer to home. So there was just a number of reasons why I was kind of stuck in between. So me and my mom went to visit Arizona just to visit and see how the campus was, how things like that, college visit. And I fell in love with it. I literally loved Arizona. I loved everything about the campus. It was absolutely beautiful, and the weather is amazing. So I think once I visited, I had made my choice. So I came back home, and there it was. I was going to go to Arizona State, and we figured out all the financial things, got it paid for, got my orientation set up, and yeah, from there on, I guess I never really thought about it until I got to Arizona. I never thought about how hard it was. Actually, my current boyfriend was my boyfriend then, right. Joseph, and he had planned a surprise going away dinner with some friends and stuff like that. And I think at that dinner, it sort of started to hit me, shit, I'm not going where, I'm not going anywhere close. I started to feel sad about it and kind of did I make the right decision and all of that stuff. And my grandma, or Momo, but she's my grandma at that time, she would tell me baby, don't go far. I'm going to miss you. And growing up in our Hispanic household and family, no one went out of state like that. No one left the coop like that. It was all my family lives here in Richmond, Rosenberg. So it was kind of this unknown idea, what are you doing, So especially for her, my Momo at the time, she was very scared and a very religious woman. And so she was I'm so scared for you, I'm praying for you and all of that, but still I was so stubborn. I was I'm sorry. I'll see you, Momo. I'll see you at Christmas.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't think I ever came to that realization of how tough it was until I got there. Mm-hmm.
That's real. But I mean, you touched on a lot of things I want to tackle. I think it's just the concept of being comfortable being uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because man, I mean, so obviously my experience a little bit different. Like I said, class clown, all that type of stuff. So got declined by LSU, got declined by every university I applied to except Prairie View. And I've told the story 100 times. Mm-hmm. Kind of got stuck there because it was the only school that wanted me to be there.
Right.
And similar to what you're saying about how your family was all in Richmond, that's where I have relatives that go to Prairie View. I have neighbors that go to Prairie View.
Yeah.
It felt like an extension of high school for me, right? Everyone I knew, my cousin went there that Xavier. Everyone was at Prairie View, right? So I got that this is not going to work for me, fam. I can't. First of all, I feel like I'm limiting myself. Not necessarily because I put myself in this situation, because again, I didn't take high school serious till I was a senior in high school, right?
And unless you're growing up with parents who went to college, did the whole shebang, they're able to kind of guide you in the right path. It's you're figuring that out on your own. So you're having to make mistakes, catch up, and try to do it right. And time just ticking.
Right, and that's the family structure I was talking about. That's so important to maturation and just growing all together. Both parents, I think they both went to college temporarily, maybe a semester, and they didn't finish, right? So step parents, really anyone in any mentor I would consider didn't go, right? So definitely that's why family structure is definitely important, because I definitely had to tap in, and they wanted me to go to Prairie View because the reason he said, it's close, so you can be around here. Oh, Dave, you know him already up there. Bro, this is my, PV is so loyal, man. The alumni and stuff like that. So I got relatives. Oh, you better go here. This is the stumping ground, stuff like that, right? But I kind of knew once, like I said, I was there and I was very comfortable. GPA was crazy high. Everything was going great. I had absolutely no reason to leave except for my happiness, right? I knew that I wanted something bigger, and ultimately made the transition. Well, speaking on the comfortable, uncomfortable, there was something I read in this room I used to study in. It literally said, get comfortable being uncomfortable, literally. And I knew I was going to leave when I got there on the first day. I spent 3 semesters there. But I read that one day, I have to go. This is confirmation for what I already knew. So ultimately made the transition to Austin, and we've been there ever since, and we just graduated in May.
See how it works?
Yeah, just graduated in May and everything, and now it's just super dope, and the opportunities that come with that have been nothing short of phenomenal. So
for sure. I'm glad that worked out for you in that way. That was awesome. That you recognized that too, and knew that you wanted that change.
I don't know. I think I'm a manifestor in some senses. I mean, I know the thing is, a lot of the stuff I've already predetermined, and I've kind of predicted. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to stay at Prairie View the day I got there. Right. Now, UT is such a hard school to get into, and mind you, I didn't get into LSU like I said. So the transition, I don't even think giving myself enough credit because transferring from Prairie View to UT is just it's just impossible.
Yeah, no,
that
for
just
sure.
can't happen.
I feel like should we Google the acceptance rate at UT because it's probably super low.
Let me tell you, PV acceptance rate is about 90, 95. UT about 20%. So, and then the transfer, I don't know. I don't give myself enough credit for that, to be honest. Just thinking about it, but I mean, 33%. Really? 33%? Hey, shout out to you, family. I love you. That's my producer back there, but he's my best friend too. 33? Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. But UT wasn't necessarily, like I said, I think I'm a manifestor, but UT wasn't the school that I was like, oh, I gotta go to UT. So people come up to me all the time like, oh, you went to my dream school, like, and you're doing things I dreamed about. NPR wasn't a dream for me. It was it's just something I kind of stumbled into. Like everything I'm doing now is sort of just happening on the spot. Like I said, I knew I wanted to go to a big school, landed at UT. I knew I wanted to do podcasting one day, ended up with NPR, right? So it's just kind of manifesting things. I don't know.
It's like your path, like what's meant to be for you will be, and that's what's happening. That's awesome. I love that.
You have to mix work ethic with hope and desire, because desire is just not enough. Like I say manifest, but that's like a buzzword almost. Like people think you could just manifest success. No, you have to like work. Like you have to work hard.
It takes both.
Like you have to work super hard, and you know all about that because you do television. And like I've mentioned, I definitely wanted to tap in with television. I thought I started doing newspaper, but I knew again like my personality is too big to be on a front page, right? So I had to transition out to television. So as someone who left the space but knows a good amount about it, I want to know your perspective of what's it been like and how just the struggles and adjustment, because people will see you on television and they'll be like, oh, look at Mariah, look at her doing her thing. Like, look at her, she big time, she got the blue check. Look, she doing that thing, right? But the thing is, like, people, and I've seen this, people don't understand, like, your hours are crazy. Like, people don't know, like, television is it's such a difficult industry to get into. So please break that down for people listening, because they don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I would say just like getting into a station and getting on screen takes a little bit of effort too. Like, I don't know how it is for people who didn't go to school, because like I said, I went to school and, you know, moved over to journalism. Great journalism school at Arizona State, the Cronkite School. And they prepare you, they connect you with people. I mean, they have like people who come and visit and see about recruiting you, all kinds of stuff like that. So I feel like they completely prepared me to step into that kind of job. But I don't know how it is for people who don't. I can't give advice to that or speak to that at all.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, like I'm sure it is extremely difficult, but so for me, I just started connecting. Actually, the way that I got my job, I didn't even want to work after college. I was like, you know what? I've been going to school forever. I've been studying forever, just stuck in this square, right? Like I want to live for a little bit. Like I want to be free, like just travel, maybe take the money I had saved and, you know, graduation money and stuff like that, and just start traveling and enjoy life for a little bit. So I didn't want to work. And then I got closer to graduation, and there's this group that I was in for women journalists on Facebook. And I saw, you know, a few people making posts in there about, hey, I'm looking for a job. Is there any station hiring? You know, it's like United States, right? Across the United States. Right. And this lady had commented, a news director from Corpus Christi had commented and said, we're hiring, you know, looking for some MSJs is what they call it. It's a multi-skilled journalist. Yep. Right? So it's a reporter, but you are like a one-man band. Right. And so she's like, we're hiring, you know, shoot me an email. And so I commented and I was like, like Corpus Christi, that's not too far from home, right? And just a little backstory on that, like why did I come back home living in Arizona? Right. I initially was like, this job's going to take me wherever because I can't be picky, right? Like, you're supposed to take a job anywhere.
But tap into that for real, though, because people don't understand. Like, I remember I'm in these television classrooms, and they're telling you, like, you have literally no option as to what city. Oh, you want to go to New York? Well, you going to Kansas. Like, you're not going to the big markets that you want to go to. So please tap in with that.
Oh, for sure. New York is #1 in the United States, so you probably definitely won't ever get there.
Out of college? No, ma'am. No, sir. No, that's not happening. No.
Yeah, it's a struggle. So for anyone who doesn't know how television works, so we're based off of markets. every city has a market number attached to them, and that kind of goes based off of how many people in that DMA, in that region, tune into the news. How many people, ratings wise and things like that. So Houston is somewhere around number 7, number 8 maybe out of the United States. So they're a top market, right? New York is number 1.
Yep.
Chicago's up there. LA's up there. I mean, all these big cities, they're top 10, top 20 markets. And so it is definitely hard. Whenever you're graduating, you're told, like, you will not have a choice. You're going to go wherever will take you. You don't get paid anything.
Ooh, hey, that's the problem with journalism altogether, though. Journalism, my God. Listen, I'm not going to lie. They have... in the curriculum, they tell you, listen, journalists, you are not going to be paid. It has to be on the syllabus because they want you to know, which I like the transparency, but they be throwing some people away. But go ahead.
No, for sure. Like, I remember getting into a call in one of our classes with somebody who was a reporter at a local station in Arizona, and one of the first things he said was, like, what you need to do right now is make sure that this is something you want to do, because you're not getting into this business for the money. You're not getting into it for the glamour. None of that. Like, you are getting into it because you want to be a journalist, because you truly want to do this job and it makes you happy. That has to be the only reason, because the money isn't enough. The glamour isn't enough. You do your own hair and makeup, like there's this idea.
Hey, she dropping gems, bro. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. Hey,
yeah,
she dropping the gems.
So you definitely have to, like, want to do it. And I think when you're graduating, all of these questions you have to face, because you have some friends who are graduating accounting or whatever, and they're becoming RNs and stuff, they're going to get paid way more. And you think you're going to get paid, but, like, it's nothing, and you just have to figure that stuff out, right? Like, you have to figure out where you want to live, where you're willing to live. The weather change. You go from living in Arizona, and now you might be sent to Wisconsin, where it snows all the time. I knew I wanted to come back home. I knew I wanted to be back in Texas. My Momo had passed away my sophomore into junior year. So at that moment, I kind of had this, like, realization that, you know what? Like, yes, home is always home. Richmond's always going to be there. But the people, the family is not always going to be there. So I had this, like, I love my family so much. We're so close-knit. I have, 3 siblings. So I knew I wanted to come back home. I knew I wanted to be closer to home at least. And if anything were to happen, like, I'm just a drive away, not an airplane ride. So that's why I wanted to come back home. When I saw that listing of that lady, side note, Corpus Christi is a 128 market. So they're a low market is what we would say, which is, an achievable market coming out of college, right? Like, you're shooting for those higher markets like that. So I knew it was feasible, possibly I could get it if I really tried. So I reached out to the ND via email. We were emailing.
What is ND? ND, that's...
Oh, news director. I'm sorry.
No, I should know this. They shouldn't. I do. Go ahead.
Yeah. So just the chain of command, you have obviously your GM, general manager, who kind of, like, owns that station or manages it. And then underneath them for our side of things would be the news director, and then you have an assistant news director and that sort of thing, and it just tumbles back down. Right. But the news director, she's the one who had commented on that Facebook post saying, we have a few positions open, shoot me an email. So I commented and said, would it be okay if I shot you an email too? So we started emailing.
Being intentional. Right. You have to be intentional.
Right. So we started emailing back and forth, and she had kind of sent me, like, a copy and paste type of thing of, like, a pitch for their station. Right. I felt like. And so I responded and was like, okay, sounds good. Here's a link to my reel at the time from college, a link to my website, because at my school they had us create all of that stuff, and that's why I say they really gave us the tools to succeed.
UT as well, I would say. There's a lot of good things. They do a lot of wrong, but I think their journalism school is definitely top tier, and it definitely prepared me to.
For sure.
DavidWest.org.
Mariah Gallegos.
.org. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so, we started emailing. I sent her my stuff, and she emailed me back giving me her a calendar invite to a phone call. That's what she called it. So for the next Monday or next week and sometime. And I was like, okay, cool. Sounds good. Whatever. Mind you, I still have this idea that I don't want to work. I'm just filling it out.
Where did that come from? How did you get there? Where did that come from?
To that idea of not wanting to work.
Yeah.
I just was getting to the end of graduation, and I thought, you know what, I feel like once I start working, I'm never going to stop. Like once I start working and I move somewhere and I have to start maintaining bills and this and that, like it's never going to stop. It's a cycle that's
you fall in love with the grind.
That's
what winners do.
You like the money, you're making money, you like it, you like independency, you don't want to live back at mom and dad's house or, like all those things. Right. So I just knew that once I started in the business, I just have to keep going. Right. So I didn't want to start yet. I was like, no, I want to take some time to myself. I went from high school to college, no break, straight there. Right. And I worked. I went to school over the summers even. Like when I would come home, I was still taking summer classes at WCJC, like trying to get ahead in college. So I would feel like I was always just on the go. And I never had time to explore myself.
And pursuing television, you have to be that way. That's the thing.
Right, so. Exactly. It's like constantly. So I just wanted that for myself and my own like individual growth. I wanted to take some time as an 21-year-old graduating college. Right. But that didn't happen. So I hopped on that phone call with the news director, and it was more of like an interview over the phone. And we ended, and then she called me back like 30 minutes later to offer me the job.
That's super dope.
Yeah. And so she offered me the job. She told me how much it would pay and that sort of thing. And I was very indecisive. I didn't give an answer right away. I talked to my mom, and my mom knew that I didn't want to work. She knew I wanted to travel a little bit. So it was easy to kind of talk with her about it. I talked with my boyfriend at the time.
I have a question about this, though. This idea of you not wanting to work, because we had a conversation prior to turning the cameras on about sort of being your own entrepreneur while being sort of, is it tied to a network, or how would you describe it? Sort of being tied to a market. Right. Not being able to pursue your own endeavors at the same time.
Right, like with my current job as a news reporter or working in news in general.
Right.
Yeah. So the way that it works right now, so whenever you become a part of a news station, and that I'm pretty sure this is literally everywhere, any reporter that I know, we sign contracts, right? And that's just to kind of give them some reliability on you as a reporter, right? Because as a viewer, you don't want to keep seeing a new reporter every month, or like you find a station, a news network that you like, you tune in, you like the people on there, you like a certain reporter, you like a certain anchor, whatever, right? Stations know that. They know that the viewer wants consistency, reliability, that sort of thing. Right. So you sign a contract, to give the station that. A promise, basically. Well, within that contract are a number of things that come with signing onto a station and being an on-air talent, I should say. Because digital people who work for news may not sign to the same things, right? Some of the things, like you said, that you have to sign to is a non-compete clause. And that is that, one, you will not work on air for another station within your market. So like in Corpus Christi, I couldn't go and work for another station there.
For how long?
I think it's a year, maybe a year and a half. You could work there. Let me correct myself. You can work there. You just cannot go on air. You're not supposed to.
Okay.
And you run into legal issues if you do, possibly. Some stations are more strict about it than others. It all depends on, the GM or, the people that you answer to, higher ups and stuff. Some of them are more lenient, like, sure, you were a great employee. We understand we have to part ways for your reasons, our reasons. Go ahead. Some are a little more strict.
These networks are competing with one another at the end of the day. Do you think it's that they're that they identify you as a talented anchor, a talented broadcaster, meteorologist, whatever it may be, and they want to keep you under them strictly, or what do you think? Why is that, you think?
Why do stations have these why do they try to keep
one talent under their under their box? Why do they try to
I think it's because I can't speak as like a manager, I don't know, but assuming
your ideas,
right? I assume part of it is because, so me as a coming out of college student, or even if I wasn't, I guess I'm learning and growing as a reporter through this station. They give me the tools to make new stories. They give me the tools to learn how to track my voice so that I sound better on air. And they, they're giving me their viewers, right? People have been tuning in to this station long before I was born. Right. They're a legacy station. So for me to join their team, they are giving me their viewers, right? So I gain followers. I gain viewers who tune in just to see me or whatever, right? So they're kind of building that helping me build my platform as a brand. My brand is connected to them, right? They gave me that. Right. So I think that's part of the reason why they want to keep you. They don't want you to take everything that they've given you, the resources, the tools, the platform, the viewers. They don't want you to take all of that and go somewhere else.
They want to control your likeness, basically, and your likability. It's just like the NCAA and what my guy was talking about with the WWE, right? But yeah, that's insane.
And I think that's actually the wording that they use in your contract, likeness and stuff like that.
Yeah,
your voice, your personality, all of that. It sort of belongs to them. And I say that to an extent, right? You could go ahead and do it. I mean, no one's going to stop you, but you may run into some legal issues because, again, you signed a contract.
Wow. No, before we had this conversation before we turned the cameras on, and that blew my mind. I just had no idea. And it, as I'm starting to transition more into audio, and I mean, I'm fully out of television now for the time being. I definitely won't rule it out moving forward. But no, I think people listening and people who want to be in your position or aspire to do television, because again, you've already highlighted. We haven't even talked about some of the stuff you report on when it comes to homicides, and people don't even know about that. So, but again, people see you on television, they want to be where you are, and
it definitely comes with the challenges. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's insane. I wonder if that will be abolished at some point, the likability and stuff like that. Because again, we saw it in college sports, and then we're starting to see sort of a transition out of that, where you own your own brand, you own your own likeness. So
I think, and one of the things too that's important to know is that you can negotiate. Everything in that contract is negotiable.
But when you're our age and you're just entering the field,
you don't know that.
First of all, I'm not reading the fine print, so it's like you know what I'm saying. It's such a especially at our age. That's why this conversation is so important, because again, people just wanting to be on television and do stuff, like they need to know, like that's real. I didn't know until you came in and dropped that game that was the case in television.
So it's like, unless I get an offer from this station, then I can leave. And you make sure that's negotiable. You ask them to put that in the contract, they agree to it, and you both sign on that.
Definitely negotiate your own bag.
Right, for sure.
I mean, you're putting me. Hey, you like that one? Like I said, I'm just entering the workforce as well with NPR and doing big things with them. So it's an adjustment for me. Hearing you say this is putting me on a lot of game. I'm trying to tell you. So
good. I'm glad somebody taught me. I mean, we all learn from somebody, you know. So, and my thing is if we don't share it, then we're all kind of stuck in our own. We don't know what we can ask for. I don't know what you're getting paid. I don't know if I'm getting underpaid or whatever. So it's an open conversation.
Am I being underpaid? Maybe, right? So you kind of tapped into this. What are you doing now? I know you meteorologist with Mississippi. How does that work? Mississippi State, right?
So I decided to go back to school last year online through Mississippi State to get my meteorology degree, to be a weather girl, but meteorologist.
Wow. So you're fully ingrained in the grind. See, you came out of, this is so dope. You came out thinking, I don't want to work, I don't want to do school no more, and like but it's so right though. Once you start, like it goes back to winning. Winning is literally, it's addictive. Like winning is definitely addictive. My
I
God.
think as we grow up, like we find things that we truly like or that we don't like, right? Like, and you said this earlier, some of the things that you have to see as a reporter, a lot of it is similar to what police go through and firefighters. You're first responder. Like me, I don't consider myself a first responder in their sense, but I am first on scene a lot of times, and so you witness a lot of ugly things, let's
definitely spend time on that too. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. What were we talking about before that though? Before I spiraled into that,
I wanted to talk about Mississippi State, but I brought it up for a reason though. We need to address it though, because again, it's something people don't think about. Like you're out here on crime scenes, on homicide calls at 5, 4, 3 in the morning. You said you set an alarm for 2.
Yeah. And I've gone waking up before that too. So like the phone never stops.
You're on call.
You're basically on call. You know, if there's a gas explosion, which happens in Corpus because we're home to a lot of refineries and things like that. They're you gotta get your butt out there ASAP.
Crazy.
Like take your makeup bag, just put on a polo and some shorts and head out there. Hair in a ponytail and take your hat.
People,
you know,
yo, I'm just saying, like, people, y'all need to. If you're tapped in, you need to like listen. Like she's telling. And I would hear about it. I was in the classes. I didn't transition to audio to my senior year. Right? I didn't start interning with them till the pandemic. Right. So that was that was 2020 when I graduated. So I was on this television track, and I thought I was gonna be the next Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Hopefully, right? Probably not.
Time.
maybe, but it just took me a long time to not only make the transition, but again, you're saying things that I don't even know even to this day. So keep going. I'm sorry.
News is a beast for sure. There's certainly like PTSD, I think, that you can get from working this job. I mean, like just from working in news for the almost 2 years that I have now, I feel like I have like a worry for my own life and like my future kids because of some of the things that I've seen. I mean, like just for example, and this is so small, but one day I was sent out because somebody it was a hit and run on the freeway. So somebody was like trying to cross over the freeway and they got hit and they died. And it happened super early in the morning. And so I had to head out there, find where to park. I mean, there's so many things that are hard. You know, you're like in Houston, I don't know how it is. It would be a freaking stress, full stress, like anxiety attack. I feel like I would have trying to navigate things. But in Corpus, it's a lot more slow and it's a lot smaller. So I had to find a way where to park and walk up there, and you have to grab an interview with the police person. You have to get something verified because up until that point, all that you have is a police scanner, and you cannot report that.
And the people you talk to, they're learning as you're learning. It's on the fly. Everything's happening in real time.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're trying, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get an interview because they're trying to like get the story straight, right? They can't go on, and say something that they don't know for a fact. Right. And so sometimes it takes longer if there's a police involved, or I hate to say that kind of phrase, but when a police shoots somebody which is what happens. Right. Police involved shooting is what the police say. It's a cop shot somebody.
She dropping gems.
Whenever that happens, the story takes it takes a little bit longer to get the chief to come in and say what happened. But on this day, somebody got hit and they, died. And I get out of my car, I get the interview and everything. I send it in really quickly, send in some tidbits of what happened so we can get that on web ASAP, right? Like we want to be the first to push out what's going on, why there's traffic maybe, and why the freeway's closed, right? And then I move on and I start getting video because you need to get what we call B-roll, right? And it's just video of the scene.
Background footage. Yeah.
And I'm getting video and I'm not even like paying attention necessarily to the scene. I'm there to do my job, get the video so I can dip, right? And I'm getting all this video, and then I put my camera down to walk a little bit closer to where the cops are. Right. And I realize the dead guy is right there in front of me. And so I just got all these clips of him laid out, like, on the floor, and like his shoe is right next to me. And it's like finally I realized the scene of things, and I see him and I text them and I'm like, do not use any of that video, like he's in the video, and I didn't even click, right? It's just my mind is going on work, like get the footage, get it, and this and that. And it happens every single day, right? So like you see things like this every single day. Like you hear stories about it every single day. And with the pandemic, it made it a lot more difficult, right? Because you're talking to families who lost family members or who are going through things or seeing things that they've never seen before. And so it's a spiral of like different kind of events that you have to cover. It's news.
It's organized chaos. I think that's my favorite term. My dad told me that a couple of days ago. Organized chaos, and it's definitely a beautiful and an ugly situation. Like I said, I'm gonna keep saying they see you on TV, right? They see you. Look at Mariah's real. That's what I said. Like look at her winning, and then but there's like so much that goes on in the background that just the average person just does not see, right? And that, again, you want to be on television, but, there's a lot of stuff that you've illustrated just in this short time I've had you just that emphasizes that. So Yo, I appreciate you for coming through. Yo, you dropped a lot of game. As someone who aspired to be on television, and for other people watching that aspire to be on television, you dropped a lot of game. So
Good.
I really appreciate
I'm glad. Yeah, it was a good conversation, and there's a lot that goes into being on news, being on television, good and bad. Of course, you enjoy it. It's nice, right? I love my job. I would say I have a fun job. What I wanted to achieve back when I was enrolling into college, and that is to have a fun job. I certainly have that. There just definitely are bad days that stick with you, and I think that's with every job.
That's a fact. I got to make sure I'm not underpaid from NPR. Yo, I appreciate you. Hiya LaPod, man. God damn, it's going to be a great season. I'm trying to tell you people, y'all better tap in because we are going crazy. I'm showing y'all my network. I'm literally showing you the people I'm aligning myself with because it's important. Again, I'm going to say it. Your network is your net worth, right? You have to align yourself with people winning, and I definitely think you're winning. So
awesome.
Had to have you on the platform. I'm doing a little something. I'm doing something. Nothing too much. I'm doing something. Shout out to Hiya LaPod. Shout out my producer, Ruffy. I love you, fam. Let's end it.